on HS2 in the name of Assembly Member Dismore.
UKIP, Tory defections.
UKIP. Labour Tory defections.
Labour
defections are Tory.
But HS2, come on,
yes,
concentrate.
Thank you so much. Andrew, who's asked a question about HS2, which is about the intervention of my father. I'm obliged to you, as ever, Andrew, for reducing the debate to this level. But the question is, what's my view on HS2? Basically, is what you're asking. And as you know, I broadly support the scheme, but I have huge reservations about some of the way it is being done. I think there could be a better HS2. I think you could certainly look at. You've got to have a proper HS2, HS1 link. You've got to look at better mitigations in the west of the city, and I'm very concerned about some of the impacts in the Camden area. And I think the criticisms that have been made of the Labour Party by my relative are entirely right. And I congratulate him on his trenchant views.
Well, I take it from your answer that you won't be donning your Phrygian cap and joining me on the barricades, bare-breasted Marianne style, à la Delacroix. But what's more important, I think,
Phrygian snood.
Will you be joining the Camden Working Group on Alternative Options for Euston Station that was announced yesterday, where they want to look at other alternatives? Obviously, their position is against HS2, but the fallback position is to see what can be salvaged.
Are you against
they're looking
HS2?
at the baseline plan and the double deck down. Will you be joining that working party?
Yeah. Well, as you know,
will you also be prepared, if necessary, to put some finance behind the research work they're doing to look at the technical aspects of those other schemes?
Well, we already have. I mean, I'm sure you already know this. We already have set up a group that is working with Camden Council, with HS2, with Network Rail, with all the relevant parties to try to minimise the impacts, and I'm absolutely determined that we should do that. Whether double deck down is the answer is a moot point at the moment. I'm certainly interested in that. This is basically the idea. You go in like in, I think it's in Grand Central Station. You have one deck and then another deck. I'm certainly interested in that, but there are various technical objections that are being raised at the moment. We'll have to get to the bottom of that.
Well, the question is, will you work with Camden looking at those technical issues?
I had Sarah Hayward in the other day. I understand her position completely. It's slightly different from mine, but it's a perfectly respectable position. You have to stick up for her immediate electorate. What is slightly less clear is the position of the Labour Party, I must say. As a whole, I mean, you're in favour of HS2, are you?
No, I'm not in favour of HS2. Unlike your government, which is.
Unlike your party, which is.
Your government and your coalition.
What about your party? What's your party position on HS2?
It's up to Andrew to put the question.
Does he want to keep? Is he going to maintain a Delphic silence on this? No. Yes or no? Is Labour in favour of HS2?
I'm not getting involved. This is not. Your government is in favour of HS2.
What's the position of Labour?
I'm not.
Yes. I mean, he wants to.
Assembly Member Dismore, have you any further questions? No.
Will you enlighten us?
Assembly Member Maltese. Thank you. We'll then move on to the final question on the order paper today, with the remaining time for the Labour Group Leader of Jobbik in the name of Assembly Member Dismore.
Thank you very much. Andrew, you're asking about a fellow called Gabor Vona, a chap from a leader of something called Jobbik, who came to address people in the UK recently. And your question is why shouldn't the Home Secretary have excluded him? Well, I had to tell you, I had to look up who you were talking about, because he didn't make much impact when he came here, as far as I can make out. Although he may have spoken to a gathering, it was, from what I can gather, pretty sparsely attended. I think the best thing we can do is not give repulsive figures like Mr. Jobbik any further publicity. and it is, or Mr. Voner, any further publicity. What this guy craves is the oxygen of publicity, Andrew, and I think it's a mistake to give him any further such oxygen.
Well, I think that's a very worrying question, Mr. Mayor, because one of the reasons for exclusion is public security. Unfortunately, the police didn't even know he was coming until I found out and told them. But there was the possibility of a very serious near riot at Holborn Tube Station when Werner turned up with his Jobbik fascist crew. It was only because a Labour member of Camden Council found the room which they booked under false pretences and managed to get the room closed down and took the key away that prevented the police having to force a way through the demonstration for Jobbik's crew to go and have their meeting. That was a potential very serious flashpoint indeed.
Okay,
it was lucky in the end that didn't happen, and that's the ground.
A quick response to this.
Well, as I say, I think that my impression of the visit of this character is that it was despicable though his views are, loathsome though he is and what he may stand for. He had very little actual impact, and I think the worst thing we can do is babble on about him because that's what he wants.
Thank you. Thank you.